students. It's 4:23 here, so we're checking out how to do the DBQ. We're starting to get into the meat of it here. You're basically looking at the DBQ first half. There's some video to watch, and then write down 5 facts in a form, hand that in as a startup. And then you're looking at document A, B, and C, half the work, if you will, of understanding the things that you can pick from to write. My slow computer might work today in a respectable amount of time, and it might not. So I noticed so far, I wanted to give a shout out while we're waiting for my slow computer to work. Period 1-2 is thebomb.com. 83% of students is the most in any class, and I kind of bragged to other teachers about them. Some teachers are like, 66% of my kids or less are doing the work, and period 1-2 has 83% or more on most days. So when I show you the instructions here, it's not really a lot of work. The comprehending can be kind of tough. Where is it? So there's the video notes that you have to click on and hand in right here in Espanol or in English. And then this is where you put your answers. And it's in Spanish or English. There's both spots on the same document. I don't know, there's not. Wait, is there? Yeah, there's. This is what you read. So if you need the translated version in Spanish, it's right there. But here's the document. So if we were in class, this is right where we were. We were starting to do these, but most students only got like one done, and then school stopped. The first one just takes this map, and you'll see in the map the striped area is the Kingdom of Kalinga, and the idea is there's a bunch of principalities. If I can use a little dink. So you have, civilizations mostly like this in ancient times. And then they start to unite a little bit, then they break apart, then they unite again. And then not only did Ahsoka help kind of unite this, but then he added this area here from the Kalingans. So the problem is down here. Ooh, wow, look at that circle. 100,000 Kalingans killed. 100,000 die from whenever you go to war, it destroys the economy of any place that you're in, right? So then you got malnutrition, disease, overcrowding, because people are moved into one area. They get something like the plague. There's bad sanitation, garbage piles up in the streets usually if you're in an urban area back then. So then that's 350,000 people that are off their land one way or another, because either 200,000 are dead, 150,000 more are refugees, is what the word is. So those questions all go around that. When did Ahsoka invade? Read the data. How many Klingons died as a result of his conquest? Look at the chart. What is the geographic advantage they had? If you look at this map here, let's go with some blue. What's the geographic advantage that Ahsoka has if there's the Klingons here and he owns all this? Kind of shaped like Pac-Man. I think you can figure that one out. Number 3, why might so many Klingons have died of hunger and disease? I kind of explained that earlier. When you are in war, it destroys the economy. And sometimes in war, people destroy all the farms in order to starve the other people. It just destroys the overall economy because everything's stopped. Most men that are the back then head of household, there's lots of farming that's interrupted, and there's nobody producing, and shop owners are called upon, if you will. So everything's kind of like the first few weeks when there was nothing on the shelf for now. Number 4, how does this help you show that Ahsoka was a ruthless conqueror or enlightened ruler? Well, what do you think? The numbers and deaths and people being put into refugees. This document A is perfect for if you're going to argue. Most students use this, argue that he's both. He's bad, but he's also enlightened. You could try to argue that he's terrible, and then he just, and this is the main document for that. Which document says he's a ruthless conqueror? This one. So we'll see if we find any more documents that say that. I'm erasing here. My nose is not agreeing with me today. My allergies are through the roof. Through the roof. Oh, and if you haven't been outside, everyone's already outside today. It's not pretty. It's still like cold and brutal. Fun. Document B talks about the conquest of Kalinga. There are some important parts in here. What was the name of the empire ruled by Ahsoka? It's right up there if you read it. And it's not the Klingons. What does it mean to be a powerful maritime? Maritime. I clicked on mouse, off of mouse. So if you look at maritime is a Spanish word, right? El mar. What's el mar mean? Oh boy, look at these mad writing skills here. El mar. That means the sea. Correct? So the idea is maritime trade, maritime area, maritime trade. So you trade using the water. You learned last year about Athens. They were a maritime dominator of ancient Greece, and they had the better navy. So maritime means that they have a navy and or they have trade by sea to other places. And they did trade on the Silk Road, all the way things that went as far as China, and they traded all the way to Lebanon and even down into Egypt and in Roman times, etc. Well, not Roman times, but I guess it'd be the medieval Europe. Mrs. Wagner's calling. This is great. All right, so that takes care of that. Next question on the document: how would conquering Kalinga help Ahsoka's empire? That's in the document itself. Okay, and it's really written in the first paragraph. I don't want to give you the answer because then it's like Obamacare, right? How does this document help you answer the question, was he a ruthless conqueror or enlightened ruler? All right, so it talks about how Kalinga stood in the way of the southern routes from the Ganges Valley, and it was also a powerful maritime area. That's benefit. So that's helping. So you can argue that he's helping his empire by obtaining a really nice piece of property, right? Like the royal blue in Monopoly right before go. He's getting one of them for his own people. Kalinga was conquered in the 9th year of Ahsoka's rule, not because he completely forsook the idea of war as a means to an end, though he claims to have done so, but because with the conquest of Kalinga, the consolidation of the empire was complete. So basically, it was just the final piece, and he was like finishing touches to help his empire. Furthermore, there was now no opposing power within the empire. So now you're the whole team, right? Equivalent of what's the equivalent of? It's equivalent of, for me, it's when LeBron James was on the Cavs, because it was like everybody else in the NBA East was like schmeh. You know, the Celtics were okay, but he always beat them, and it was pretty much his conference. It was like whoever made it in the West was going to play LeBron. So that's basically what he was doing. So this is a mixed message, but if you look at question 4 here, it kind of helps to show that he was just getting everything he could for his people. It doesn't really make fun of, or not really make fun of, but put him as a bad, ruthless conqueror in this one. It's more neutral. Okay, eraser time. Cool sound effects brought to you by Mr. Wagner. Okay, scrolling down. Document C is the last one for Thursday. All right, document C. When the war in Kalinga was over and the people were conquered, he felt a great crisis, a stirring for meaning and remorse. Ahsoka goes on a pilgrimage seeking a guru, a teacher, and he got all in touch with Buddha, and then he was projecting the path of violence he already used. But once you've already done something, it's kind of like too late. Famous play Macbeth. Guy tries to take over England. He starts killing, and once you stop, there's no way to go back and be innocent again. So it says, while he was here, Ahsoka gave rich gifts to the poor and consulted with local communities about proper governance, good conduct, political order, which had never been conceived of before in the history of the world. So it's the whole idea. This is just talking about how he turns to Buddhism. Buddhism is nonviolent. Buddhism is more inclusive than Hinduism. Hinduism says you're like rich guy, you're here. Middle guy, here. You can't marry anybody outside of that. And everybody has you can't really change your rank. Yesterday's video, John Green said that Hinduism is trouble for a ruler because Hinduism says, follow your rules. Don't change, just stay. If I'm a teacher, I follow the teacher rules. I don't really worry about the government. So Buddhism is more all-inclusive. And says everybody's trying to reach nirvana. So technically, Buddhism is a way for you to control the greater amount of population that you've conquered. There are two ways to use document C. You can use it to say that he was a benevolent, helpful, nice person. All that violence had changed him. Now he's using document C would say that he's using Buddhism to help calm himself down and make up for his sins, kind of, and to be a nicer ruler because now he's got so many people to rule and everybody's united. If you say it's just a bunch of hogwash, you could say that he's using Buddhism to control people because it's easier to control people with Buddhism than it is with Hinduism. Then you'd have to reference the John Green video if you use that in the essay. Right? If you're in power, how do you consolidate power? How do you keep power? How do you keep control of people? Buddhism makes everybody feel like they're on the same team. So how did he imitate Buddha? He sat under the Buddha tree. It says it up there. I got to quote that and explain it. How did Ahsoka's ideas change after finding enlightenment? And he started doing nice things for people, and you can kind of see that from the middle of the paragraph and the part I started to highlight. And I just mentioned how did he apparently feel after conquering Kalinga? Why did he feel that way? So it says remorseful, and you'd have to explain why. You could reference that thousands of people died, or that there's nothing else to do. Like, what else do you do? Like, honestly, what else do you do when you've beaten everybody and there's no other enemies? I'm not going to try to take over the world. That's more of an Alexander the Great kind of thing. I can't scroll down. There's like a bar on top of a bar on the side. I can't scroll down. I'm trying. I can't zoom out. I literally can't scroll down. How can I push down, 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 down? Sneak over, grab the bar. Come on, bar. Well, the fifth question ties in with how does this affect Ahsoka as a ruthless conqueror and enlightened ruler? And I said there's two different ways to argue. That this is just a cover-up, and he uses Buddhism to unite his power more easily because it is more inclusive than Hinduism and doesn't divide people. Or he felt it in his heart, and he actually changed for the good of his people. So document C can be used either way. Twist the words. That's what you do in essays. Twist the words to prove your point. So that's document A, B, and C. They aren't tough. They just take time. I know most of you aren't running anywhere anytime soon. So the idea is do these well. I gave you most of the answers in this video. And make sure you have this because you will use these as your ammunition to write the essay starting on Monday and Tuesday. If there's any other concerns, just shoot me a message through Drive or Remind. And I wish you luck and hope you do well. Hope you and your family are safe. And Wagner out.